Okay, guys, I'm here today with my friend Matthew Sloane, who's with Liberty. He's a Liberty advisor. He works with commercial and home loans. Thanks for chatting with me today, Matt. I'm glad to
Pleasure, Tiff.
see it's
Yeah,
your beautiful background working from home and
yeah,
coping with what's been going on. Um, so you deal with commercial and residential personal loans, and I
correct.
would love to just chat with you about what's been going on? What are you seeing during this COVID-19 period? What's been going on that you're seeing mostly?
For me, mostly probably refinances of home loans and investment loans. It's probably
Mm,
the biggest thing that we're seeing. Obviously, there's still banks are still open for business, and there's still good savings for people in certain situations. So if people are still working, of course, and they haven't reviewed their home loans for a while, there's often some good significant savings to be made by just reviewing the situation.
oh yeah,
Um,
like definitely. I've been chatting with a few people lately, encouraging them to talk to their brokers. There
yeah,
could be some
definitely.
some really cool opportunities right now for them. And
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
with all the stimulus packages coming down the pipe, may not be the right things for them, but make sure that you're communicating with your broker like yourself
yeah.
all the time during this phase and making sure that you're aware of all the options that are out there, right?
That's right. It's
Mhm.
probably applies to all periods of time, but I think obviously in
Yes.
recent times it's just really highlighted it, and it's probably no more important now than it always has been.
Yeah.
Um, but other things we're seeing, Tiff, are things like a spike in personal loans.
Mm.
I think people working from home, they've got more time um, to look at their financial situation and just go, okay, well, what can we do? And it's
Yeah.
another form of debt consolidation.
Yes.
An example would be a first home buyer consolidating a few credit cards prior to, getting lending
Definitely.
for their first home, or someone just tidying up their situation without using
Or
their mortgage. Yeah,
or some of us being home and realizing how much we're saving.
yeah, yeah,
And maybe we
absolutely.
should rethink some things, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's been a lot of changes, so I think it's
Yeah.
that I was saying everyone's got to change and adapt.
Yeah, definitely. So I know what's impressed me most, but with all the current climate and how people are responding, but tell me what's impressed you the most in these current conditions?
Um, well, probably. I think one obvious thing is people banding together. I think it's been that good old Aussie spirit. It's good to see it. Oh, not come back, but just highlighted again how strong it is. It's been
Mhm.
really refreshing, and particularly people banding together to help small business, like food businesses who are doing it tough, but still going to next level to feed our emergency services, that sort of thing. I mean, that's
Yeah,
impressed me big
yeah.
time. I know of one particular company in Wollongabba that's Wine and Dine 'em. They've done some really good work out there, um,
Mhm.
and also small business. The adaptation that some of these businesses have done, of like a lot of restaurants and cafes have expanded their takeaway options.
Mhm.
I've heard of a gym. Obviously, gyms are closed, but I've heard of a gym leasing out their equipment um,
Oh, it's
in the
brilliant.
short term. So yeah, just obviously a lot of gyms are online as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's some really clever people out there, and it's really good to see people adapt and just try and
Yeah.
get through these tough times.
Yeah, and I think it seems like the common theme is let's just help each other. Like we're all in
Yep.
this together. So in terms of cafes and restaurants, like you said, they're doing still takeaway. They're doing prepared foods. You can order ahead for your family meals, and they're just trying to help people who may be struggling, because a lot of us, like including yourself with all your kids home, and it's kind of an adjustment period. A, to work at
Yeah.
home, B, to be affected by everything financially, probably for some of us, and
Yep.
C, having all your kids and partners home with you all day long and trying to still be productive and trying,
Yeah.
you
It's a
can't really go
challenge.
out. Sure, you can go out and exercise, but you kind of you don't have your routines that you had before. So it's it's nice that there are a lot of local businesses, and I'm supporting them too. Like I'm going to still get takeaway meals and takeaway coffees just to, I can manage myself, but I want to just support them. But I know a lot of people with families home, like that's just amazing for them to not have to worry
Yeah,
about what's going to be made for dinner, and they can just kind of call ahead and order something local, which is amazing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. No, it's
Yeah, and
really good.
also two people, having in terms of that community spirit, just how everyone's just being more helpful and like, I think we were talking about this before, just people out and about saying hello and being more friendly,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
something I've noticed. Being out and about, walking and running. Um, just if it was before the coronavirus, it probably would have been a little weird. But it's hopefully it's the new
Well, I'm
normal. I love
Canadian, so we always do that.
it.
I think it's really
Yeah,
funny because when I do go out and we're biking or running, and we usually say hello when people are like,
yeah.
but
No,
I'm
it's
seeing it's more
quite
common
refreshing.
now. It is really
Yeah,
nice. Yeah,
definitely, really
yeah.
nice.
And so in terms of, talking about community and supporting local business, tell me what you're finding with what's been coming down in terms of supporting families and small business right now in terms of stimulus package or from the government level.
Um, oh look, there's some loan repayment holidays, obviously applicable to
Hmm.
people with mortgages.
Yeah.
So that's a really good question. Now, there's obviously it's very important that if people out there, if they're going to, if they feel like they're in a situation where they're going to miss a repayment, they definitely need to reach out beforehand. Call your broker, call your bank, and just get it sorted before that happens. That's really important. Um,
Hmm.
on the on the flip side, um, it's not a free lunch, so to speak. The interest is accrued on top of the loan. So after that holiday period, your loan is higher than what it was, and which will effectively your loan repayments will be higher. But it's crucial, obviously, to look into that if you feel you're going to miss a repayment. Absolutely,
Yeah. Oh, for
absolutely. So
sure.
that's um, for there's obviously lots of stimulus packages for um, small businesses and people out of work, but particularly for small business, I think it's a crucial time to be in touch with your accountants um, and stuff like that to really find out if you do need assistance, just find out what's applicable for you. That's probably the once again, people helping people. People need to ask for help. That's
Hmm.
super important.
Yeah.
Don't be too stubborn or too proud to reach out and just ask, whether it's your broker, your accountant, your real estate agent. We've all got good contacts in the industry. If we can all put someone in touch with, if they don't have that professional that they require, we can all put someone in touch with them. So
Oh, for
the
sure.
important thing is, reach out big time.
Yeah. Yeah. And also too, it's like how many times a week are we getting conflicting guidelines coming down the pipe where everything's changing week by week?
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
just
we're
making
getting,
sense
yeah,
of it half the time, right? It's just really confusing. So
it is.
having like a broker and an accountant be on your side to really make sense of that and tell you what would maybe be the most um, beneficial for you in your situation, and
Yeah,
making sense of all those new guidelines coming down.
yeah,
That's important.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's crucial,
Yeah.
I think.
In terms of where you and I talk about this all the time in terms of home loans, because we chat a lot about this, but what kind of advice would you give buyers and sellers right now? Maybe, you can start with buyers, because we just chatted about
So
that earlier.
yeah,
Mhm.
buyers. Obviously, I think a lot of people understand. Get your stuff, get your ducks in a row before you look at buying. That hasn't changed, and that never will change.
Mhm.
Know what you can borrow if you're borrowing money. Know what know what your budget is as well. That's really important. But
Mhm.
I think what's really applicable in the current environment, and look, I don't want to scare people by saying this. It's not common, but I have seen a couple, or heard of, not seen, of a couple of instances where people have gone to purchase at auction with finance approval and the bank pulling out of the deal afterwards. Now, in these cases, I want to stress that it's people's situations change, and they can change, particularly now. So if people out there with finance, even with finance approval, if your circumstances change, talk to your broker or talk to your bank. Make sure you're on top of this. It might be, it's not necessarily anyone's fault, but just be in
Yeah,
contact with them consistently.
totally. Things are
If you look,
changing week by week, right? We
yeah,
have
that's
to.
look, it's
Yeah,
yeah, that's right. I mean, but at the same time, if your situation doesn't change, there's no need to worry too much.
yeah,
But still, just reach out. It's once again comes back to the same one point. You know, communicate. Reach out
yeah, yeah.
to the people in your network.
Yeah, and I think too, I have to say that buyers out there, sure, if you're in a great position and you're able to buy right now, it's a really, really good time to take advantage of opportunities. The interest rates are
Yeah,
amazing, and lenders are often giving amazing incentives, but also understand that sometimes mortgages seem to be taking a little bit longer to come together. So, you know, make sure, again, like you said, talk to your broker, make sure they have everything up to
yeah,
date, make sure all the documentation is provided to the broker as soon as possible on a pending deal. Make
yeah, for
sure
sure.
that you get your ducks in a row and
Yeah,
just be patient, right? It could take, that
can
extra week or two,
yeah,
and just being patient with that,
yeah,
knowing that
and
it's
that's
still happening, right? Like we're
yeah,
still, you're
definitely.
doing deals, like buyers are buying and sellers are
Yeah,
selling, and it's still possible.
that's
It's
true.
it's going well. The activity is still there, but just
Yeah,
make sure that you're prepared. Make sure you have all your options and all of your ducks in a row. Yeah,
yeah, definitely, Tip.
yeah,
It's super important.
yeah. And I would say
Couldn't
too
agree
for
more.
sellers as well, right? Like I think for sellers, buying and selling in the same market, you're fine. But if things have changed on your end and you're looking to sell, and just make sure that you, just like you said, make sure you keep your A team or your group of
Yeah,
accountant, financial broker, your agent on side, and you're communicating with them throughout the whole process, and just make sure that you have them helping you, and make sure that you have the right advice, right?
yeah, that's right. And up to date advice,
Exactly.
which is what might have been applicable 2 months ago, might not be applicable next month. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's crucial to plan, but just stay on top of it. Or you don't necessarily, the people at home don't necessarily have to stay on top of it, but just communicate again, because
yeah. Keep
your
in
network will be all
contact.
over it. Your
Yeah.
accountants will be all over the stimulus packages.
Hmm.
Agents will be all over what's buying and selling in the current markets. Brokers are all over which banks are providing incentives or
Hmm. Hmm.
good rates, or even particularly for buyers, a broker's more aware of which banks are taking 5 weeks for approvals,
Exactly.
or 1 or 2 days. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
there's a lot
Just do it ahead of
to
time,
consider.
right?
Yeah,
Talk and
don't.
communicate ahead of time. Be prepared. Don't just do it when you're putting the offer in or after the offer.
Yeah,
I would think get your approval started before that.
yeah. It's in a perfect world.
Well, exactly,
That
right?
would be
Like,
nice.
it's,
Yeah,
yeah, just to be patient during the time. And also
yeah,
too, it's interesting when you mentioned that, talking to an agent when you're selling, we have to be really careful now that sellers really need to be aware that, sure, definitely there's lots of activity. Buyers are out there and they're serious buyers and properties are still selling, but just be prepared to really understand what your expectations are ahead of time. Because really when
yeah,
maybe you had your property appraised 2 months ago, that appraisal is not quite going to be the same now. So you just want to make sure that you have people on your side working with you and giving you up-to-date information,
yeah,
so that you really know exactly what you're up against over the next while. You
yeah.
understand exactly where your property value might sit now, so that you can make your plans, right?
That's
So
yeah,
it's just
spot on.
working together and having the right team there for you and helping you, right?
Yeah, couldn't
Yeah.
agree more.
Yeah, amazing.
Couldn't agree
So
more.
yeah, thanks, Matt. Appreciate your chat, and
Pleasure.
we'll talk again. Obviously,
Yeah, we'll
you're
do.
busy as ever helping people with their home loans and commercial loans. So if anyone needs any advice, please call Matthew Sloane. Go to liberty.com.au and look up his name, and we'll definitely be chatting again soon. Good luck
Okay.
with
Thanks,
everything.
Steph.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Thank you.